In a major victory for the left, Democrat Donna Deegan has won the mayoral race in Jacksonville, Florida, the state's most populous city, marking only the second time in 30 years that a Democrat will hold that office. Not only that, her victory means that Democrats have flipped the seat in the biggest city currently held by Republicans. The next biggest city currently run by the GOP is Fort Worth, Texas, as the Republicans continue to shed support everywhere other than deep red rural towns. Donna Deegan defeated Republican former state rep Daniel Davis, who is running to fill the seat as the current Republican incumbent Lenny Curry was term limited. Davis was endorsed by Ron DeSantis, who said that he was, quote, the proven law and order conservative Jacksonville needs to tackle the city's greatest challenges and seize its biggest opportunities. Weird how the whole law and order shtick doesn't really seem to be working in the party currently led by the guy contending with 34 criminal indictments. And Davis went with the same tired attacks, releasing an attack ad and accusing Deegan of wanting to defund the police. In response, Deegan released this ad.
Hi everybody, I just wrapped up an interview about this new attack ad that Daniel Davis and the Duval GOP have out against me. And I wanted to take a few minutes to discuss it with you because I don't ever know what they're actually going to use on television, so I want to make sure that you hear the whole thing from me. You know, it's very disconcerting that they have decided to use the same old playbook, very unimaginative, but the bottom line is it's much easier to divide, which doesn't make us any safer, than it is to unify. It's much easier to attack than it is to actually talk about issues like the fact that Daniel Davis wanted to privatize the JEA. And that's important right now because there's some bills in the legislature that may make that an issue again. So we need to be talking about those issues that affect Jacksonville. But in terms of our police officers and our safety, let me just say this, that I believe that two things can be true. And I believe a leader has to do two things. Has to be able to see from one side and has to be able to see from the other side. So while I do believe police have a very dangerous job and I believe that we need more officers on the streets and we'll fund those, I also believe that black mamas shouldn't have to worry every time their kids step out of the house. And I think the only way we create a safer city is with more communication and not less. So you'll continue to see me take the high road, but I will continue to hold Mr. Davis accountable for the fact that he most certainly is not doing that. And I hope you will continue to be with us on this journey. Thanks.
Turns out having a candidate capable of nuance may actually be better than some MAGA extremists fear-mongering hysterically about defund the police on an endless loop. Who could have possibly guessed? But going back to DeSantis for a moment, this wasn't even the only loss for the Florida governor today. He also backed Kelly Craft in the Republican primary for the Kentucky governor's race. She even outspent the other Republican candidates in that primary 10-1, all to come in third place. She lost by 30 points. All of which is to say, Ron DeSantis has the political acumen of a paper bag. And remember, all of these DeSantis endorsements are supposed to show his strength within the Republican Party. Instead, he can't seem to pick a winning candidate for his life. And in his infinite wisdom, he watched as his own window to declare as a candidate for president has come and gone, with his poll numbers plummeting. The latest Emerson College poll shows Trump with the support of 70% of respondents to DeSantis' 14%, a 56% lead. Again, Ron DeSantis is where political insight goes to die. With that said, Donald Trump isn't some shoo-in for the White House either. According to the latest Reuters Ipsos poll, Biden leads Trump 44% to 38% as his hypothetical lead continues to widen. Turns out maybe voters are souring on the guy who incited an insurrection on the U.S. Capitol, only to then go and get indicted on 34 felony counts and get found liable in an abuse and defamation case after that. Who could imagine that these things wouldn't help Trump's electability argument? But Trump and DeSantis aside, let's remember why Democrats are winning. Voters are rejecting Republican extremism across the country, even in deep red areas. From Kansas to Wisconsin to Arizona and everywhere in between, voters are letting the Republican Party know what they think about their extreme agenda, from abortion bans to book bans to LGBT bans to interstate travel bans. The Republican Party has decided to go all in on the most draconian, unpopular, big government agenda in American history, and they're losing even races like the one in Jacksonville for the exact reason. Turns out they're not capable of moderating their positions even a little bit. Meanwhile, when Democrats take power, look at what happens. The first gun safety bill in 30 years, the first infrastructure upgrade in modern American history, broadband internet access for rural Americans, the biggest climate investment in the history of the world, a manufacturing renaissance thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act and the CHIPS Act, veteran health care thanks to the PACT Act, student loan debt canceled, only to then get held up by Republicans in court, out-of-pocket healthcare costs capped, insulin prices slashed by up to 70%, the government negotiating lower prescription drug prices, all while adding $12.6 1.6 million jobs and bringing the unemployment rate down to a near record low. There is a reason why Republicans are trying so hard to fearmonger about some dystopian alternate reality. It's because they know they can't win against the Democratic agenda in this reality. So congratulations to Donna Deegan and the Florida Democrats for this bright spot in what's been a difficult state for Democrats thus far. And hopefully this serves as a harbinger of better things to come in a state that Ron DeSantis has turned upside down in his desperation to launch his presidential bid. Floridians should recognize by now that Ron DeSantis isn't there to serve them, he is there to serve himself and his own political ambitions, and he's dragging the rest of the GOP down with him. Before you go, I need your help. I'm right on the cusp of hitting 2 million subscribers, so please help me grow this channel so the progressive media ecosystem grows by hitting the subscribe button right here on the screen. I also started a Spanish channel so we can finally start regaining some of that lost ground among Spanish speakers, so if you want to help support those efforts, you can hit that subscribe button. And finally, if you listen to podcasts and you want to support mine, you'll find a link to that on the screen as well. Thanks so much for watching.